What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Beginner Bike Giveaway series. Today we're working on probably the fan favorite, the XSR700. We're going to be installing some fork gaiters and then cleaning up our turn indicators as well with some pieces from New Rage Cycle. Let's get into it. So Spike, these seem like a pretty, kind of just aesthetic piece. Why would we want to put these fork gaiters on a motorcycle?
So you see these a lot on dirt bikes and older motorcycles. The main draw for these is they'll actually keep dirt out of your fork seals, which is a main problem that ages these fork seals. You see we have a little bit of a cover here, but it doesn't really do much. So these will help keep dirt off of them. On a street bike, does it really make a difference?
It just looks cool, and that's why we're doing it.
Yeah, they just look really cool. And these actually came to us direct from Nomster on the Discord. He bought them for his XSR900, which he is scrambling because he's very brave.
Yeah. Enormous testicles on that boy.
And so they didn't fit on his bike, so he sent them on over to us, which is awesome. And then our New Rage Cycles turn signals will finally solve the main problem I have here, which is
get a little slap on them. Very slappable indicators.
They're awful, and I'm so glad we're gonna finally solve this problem.
We're all praying and hoping that Yamaha's new MT-07 will match the MT-03, 9, and 10, and no longer have these indicators. But who knows? It's Yamaha. What can we do?
I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah. So today we're gonna be actually getting the forks completely out of this motorcycle. It's gonna be a bit of a big job, but I think we're up to the task. Got the right stand for it. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
Spike, what's first up on the agenda? What are we doing?
So thankfully, mercifully, this comes with some instructions in paper format. So
Two dinguses like us can get it done.
Yeah, exactly. So what we need to do first is we need to get the brake calipers and the ABS sensors removed from the bike, pull the wheel off, pull the forks out, slip the gaiters from the top down, and then do it all in reverse. So let's dive in, get working down here.
All right, ABS sensor, let's do it. One of the most important things when servicing or working on the forks of your motorcycle is to have a front stand like this one we're using today that has a pin which suspends the motorcycle. Typical front stands will jack up the bike from the bottom of the forks, which for a quick service on your brakes or to take off your front wheel for a new tire will work just fine. But in order to have anything more major to the front end of your bike, it's worth it to have a stand like this. So pretty easy getting that front wheel off, huh?
Yeah, actually it was shockingly easy. We just got to make sure we put it on right because the ABS ring is on one side. But next we have to get the front fender off, and then it's pull the forks out.
Easy enough.
Easy enough, let's do it.
Keep going. When taking bolts on and off your bike, be sure to put them in a Ziploc bag so you know where they go, or set them aside in a central location. We're not great at staying super organized while we do our mods to our giveaway bikes, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be. If you fail to do this, Ari Henning will cry a single tear and wish shame upon your family. Dealing with the front suspension of your motorcycle can be pretty daunting, but luckily this XSR700 is pretty dead simple to work on. An important thing to do is to make sure that you mark off exactly where your forks were originally. You don't want to slide your forks too far up or too far down, as you will radically change the geometry of your bike. Typically you only want to do this for a track day or racing application if you're trying to fix some sort of handling problem on your motorcycle. But when it comes to a street bike, mark off those points on your fork and get them back to the stock settings. All right, it's been pretty easy getting these forks off. It's very satisfying seeing them slip on out, I will say.
Yeah, it was actually kind of shockingly easy.
Yeah, this bike's pretty easy to work on, but now we're gonna be cutting off this little plastic piece here and replacing it with our gaiters, right?
Yeah, so they literally say to cut the back end of this out and not to hit the fork seal.
Yeah, guys, if you're doing this, do not cut the seal itself. Do not mess with your fork seals here. You're not replacing them with these gaiters, just so you guys know.
The gaiters are gonna replace these covers here. So we're gonna cut the back of the cover and then just slide these down, tie it up, and it'll be ready to go.
Easy enough.
All right guys, so we've got the headlight taken apart here so I can remove it and get easier access to our little plugs for the floppy turn signals here. So all I gotta do is just disconnect the headlight here and it's pretty... No, dude, no scissors. No, dude, just trust me. Look, it's just right there.
I quite like just chopping them off. Right here, this is a 3-pin plug that I thought that the new headlight needed to be a custom job, so when I put this off, I went ahead and cut the wires. I was like, oh, I'll just solder them on the new one. But you know, if that's what you think is right, we'll do that. All right. Sometimes things don't go as planned when you go to mod your bike. As we see here, Spite had to bust out the Dremel and provide some mechanical persuasion to these indicators so they would fit onto the bike. New Rage Cycle parts tend to fit really well, but this might have just been a small oversight on their part. Don't be afraid to get a bit dirty and change things up if they don't fit. It's why having a vise, a Dremel, or even some way of modifying parts is very handy when dealing with installations.
Okay, so we had to do a little bit of Dremel work here because of the shape of these indicators and the little retention screws that they have. They weren't quite mounting up right, so we busted the Dremel out. You can see we've got this one mounted up just fine, and took some material off of both the mounting hardware and the actual light itself. And now it just kind of slots in and we'll mount it up and it'll be good to go.
Just goes to show you guys that sometimes you think one part of a project is difficult, but then out of nowhere, the part that you thought was easy is actually the hard part. You know, no diss on New Rage Cycle. This might not be the exact right piece for the XSR700. They might have sent us the 900 one. I don't really know, but we had to make a couple modifications to make it fit, and now it does. Looks pretty good.
They look great. That's the thing. So I was willing to put in the work because these are just some damn fine looking lights.
Definitely. Let's wrap this up. Alrighty guys, we've got the LED turn signals finally installed, but we do have one slight little issue, and that is a very well-known issue, and it's called hyperflash.
As you can see, they're blinking real quick.
Yep. And the reason that happens is because of the resistance on the original incandescent bulbs do not line up correctly to these new LEDs. So what you need to do is put a little relay that will change that resistance to allow these to flash at a lower rate that's more reasonable. Some guys run it like this. I don't really like running the hyperflash this aggressive.
I think a little bit can help draw attention, but so the average flash rate is 85 cycles per minute.
That's your fact for the day.
And this is much faster.
This is like 3 times as fast as normal, I would say.
Yeah, and sometimes it gets so bad that they don't even flash, they're just solid.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
But we'll get a flasher relay and we'll be able to tune it to whatever we'd like. So that'll solve that problem really easy, and it's like a $10 part. So.
Yep, now we're gonna slide the forks back on and call it a day. When you're piecing together your bike after an install, be sure to bust out the torque wrench and set those bolts to the proper spec. When dealing with moving parts like forks, wheels, or brakes, torque settings are critical. The last thing you want is for the front suspension on your bike to fall apart while you're mid-corner. Alrighty guys, well that wraps it up for today. We got the new gaiters on, the new turn indicators, which was a bit of a battle, but we got it done, which was quite good. And it's looking pretty fresh, I gotta say.
Yeah, no, getting those gaiters on there, it really kind of helps supplant that early aesthetic, kind of 70s, 80s aesthetic that this is going for. I mean, that's just a big feature on all those bikes. Yeah. And it looks excellent on this.
It really fits the vibe of this bike, but I think there's just one last thing to do to those nasty indicators, and then we can call this job quite done.